Parliament has suspended the laying of the legislative instrument seeking to restrict the importation of selected strategic products into the country. This follows calls by the Minority Caucus on the Minister for Trade and Industry, Citi, to further engage the group on concerns surrounding the LI. The minority contends that the regulation is not in the best interest of importers. The Speaker, Alban Bagbin, urged the sector minister to deal with concerns relating to the LI before it is laid. There is more in this report.
During proceedings in Parliament on Thursday, the Minister for Trade and Industry, Citi, had wanted to lay before the House the legislative instrument seeking to restrict the importation of selected strategic goods, but the minority raised concerns about the lack of proper engagement on matters relating to the LI. The Speaker thus suspended the laying of the LI for further engagement with the Minority Caucus.
Speaker, we believe that the regulation before us is not in the interest of importers and the country. Speaker, we are not going to go into the detail now, but we are requesting the Honourable Minister responsible for trade and industry to have a meeting so that we can all sit and deal with the issues concerned.
We deal with the issues, but it has nothing to do with numbers.
Leadership try to resolve these matters before we move on, because we are dealing with instruments, and you know the import of laying instruments. That is why I say you should try and resolve it, because of the nature of the instrument we laid and the constitutional and legal effect of laying. If you have these things you wanted to go through, you better meet and discuss and resolve the issues before we move on. That's as simple as that.
Later, the minority addressed journalists accusing the government of using arbitrary moves to create business opportunities for party supporters and financiers with attempt to lay the LI seeking to restrict the importation of selected strategic products into the country.
Are we producing rice in Ghana in the quantities that the ordinary Ghanaian will require to consume? Obviously no. What they have done, rather, will fuel inflation in the sense that they will create artificial shortage. And if they create artificial shortages, the prices of these goods and services will go up. And when it goes up, it doesn't only increase inflation, but it increases, the burden that it will place on the ordinary Ghanaian, and erodes the household income. So that is what they have to understand. You see, if they had created domestic production for some of these items, I will have no issue. But clearly, we know that they want to restrict sugar. But we don't have a sugar processing plant. The one that President Mahama actually constructed, this government is refusing to open it. So where is the sugar going to come from? What they are seeking to do is to create business for their supporters, and financiers. So what will mean is that today, if you are not an MPP supporter, they will not give you the permit to be able to bring in sugar. And where are we going as a country? Arbitrary way of managing the affairs of this country. I don't think this is something that we should continue. It is wrong, and the government must think about it once again.
Meanwhile, in a separate interview with Citi News, the president of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, Dr. Joseph Obeng, has advised the government to attain self-sufficiency before contemplating a ban on the importation of animal products.
We should know how to regulate it to go alongside themselves, those the imported and the locally made goods, until any such time that we have full self-sufficiency. We might not have to wait till we attain self-sufficiency, but then we do not also have to punish the consuming public because we want to be self-sufficient. So that's why we have to apply tact, wisdom to do this, so that at least there are some things that we can say that these things are fully produced in Ghana and we consume also here. But then we have to take our time, and we have to hasten slowly, as the Latin people will say, so that we do not kill laudable idea that goes with the whole import substitution.
Day 3 of the debate on the 2024 budget presented by the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta saw the Minority Chief Whip Gavin Sagboja accuse the Majority Leader Seiche Mensah Bonsu of voting for the flag bearer of the NPP, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, in the recently held primaries due to his interest in becoming his running mate. The Majority Leader Seiche Mensah Bonsu, however, denied that he is involved in any contest or campaign for the position of a running mate.
The Agenda 111 hospitals is the construction of hospitals in all the 16 regions. Mr. Speaker, that consists of about 102 district hospitals, 7 regional hospitals, 2 regional psychiatric hospitals, and 1 national psychiatric hospital. Mr. Speaker, by middle of next year, I'm not bragging, we will commission the first 50 of these Agenda 111 hospitals. I think it's a good news.
I just want to remind him that he didn't make the commitment about Agenda 111. The person who made the commitment for Agenda 111 said, on 17th of August 2021, said, I shall complete all the Agenda 111 projects within 18 months. He's a scientist. Hey, can you calculate 18 months from 17th August 2021 and tell me whether you have actually delivered on that? So if you want to be the president and make your own commitment, you should have contested when they were doing the primaries. The person who wanted to contest is one of you who was Honorable Kennedy Japan, who you didn't vote for. So the next time contest, you didn't make the promise. So the president has failed the agenda. Whether he complete 99% another time, he has failed the commitment. Mr. Speaker, let me make this few comments. Mr. Speaker, this budget was presented by our colleague who is not a member of parliament, Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta. I'm just wondering, when I see my colleagues from the other side giving him funds, whether Ghanaians can trust the lot here. In fact, Mr. Speaker, I still have here a news by Citi newsroom. All NPP MPs now want Ken Ofori-Atta removed by majority leader. You didn't want the person to be the finance minister. Yet he wrote the budget, you are giving him funds. You cannot be trusted. None of you can be trusted. In fact, he lost in your constituency, Honorable Leader. So what is the point? The vice president lost in your constituency. I don't even know what you are standing up to do. Did he not lose in your constituency? He lost. He lost even Honorable Afenyo's constituency. You and him didn't vote for him. As for majority leader, he probably voted for him because he wanted to be running mate. But you didn't vote for him.
Mr. Speaker, yesterday, my colleague, the former minority leader, was saying that I'm concentrating on my running mate campaign. Mr. Speaker, let me state it here clearly that there is no contest for the position of a running mate, and I'm not involved in campaigning for running mate position. Mr. Speaker, it should be loud and clear.
As we speak, in spite of all the advocacy, the strike which was embarked upon by the school feeding caterers, all government could do was to raise the rate from the 97 pesos per child per day to 1 cedi 20 pesos, and this is with tax. And as we speak today, in the current economy, where food inflation is over 40%, Mr. Speaker, you tell me, what hot, nutritious meal can you provide for a child with 1 cedi 20 pesos, when the cost of even an egg is 2 Ghana cedis? Mr. Speaker, capitation grant. Capitation grant is the grant that allows us to say that public basic education in Ghana is free. The capitation grant is supposed to be calculated at a rate of 10 Ghana cedis per child per year. As we speak today, government owes capitation arrears for 8 terms, the equivalent of over 2 years. They pay 1 tranche, they skip 2 tranches, and then they pay another tranche. And then you ask yourself, how are the heads of our public basic institutions or basic schools able to run public basic schools?
On matters relating to the sale of public lands, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abdullahi Jinapor, says the sale of accommodation belonging to a clerk of parliament was done in 2015 and not 2019, as earlier communicated by the parliamentary service.
In many cases, Mr. Speaker, when they make the claim that a particular land is being sold under a particular administration, when you go into the records and you make the inquiry, you find the contract. Mr. Speaker, I'll give an example. Not too long ago, it was said that the accommodation or residence of the clerk of parliament was sold in 2019. Mr. Speaker, I want to submit to this house, a house of record, and I want Hansa to capture it, that my checks at the Lands Commission suggest that the clerk of parliament accommodation or residence was sold in 2015 and not 2019. Mr. Speaker, the then Minister for Works and Housing gave an offer to a private developer in 2015. A lease was granted to the developer in 2015. These records are unimpeachable. It happened in 2015 and not 2019. It just so happened that the developer, having bought the land in 2015, having been given an offer letter in 2015, having been granted a lease in 2015, took possession in 2019. So by all intents and purposes, Mr. Speaker, the land was sold in 2015 and not 2019.
Thank you.
Reporting from Parliament, my name is Ni Ayikwe Okine for Citi News.